Okay, so now we are ready to address the questions of how do I figure out how to cut down the original neckband that has been harvested from another t-shirt. This one was, I already cut it apart, but it was this size originally. So if you look on the internet, you're going to find a general school of thought that says take your opening, measure it, and then reduce that number by 1/7. In my opinion, that's going to make a neckband that's going to be floppy, wanting to droop down in the front into this area here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go by, we're going to reduce it by 1/6, which is a little better. So ours measures on the small t-shirt, Malibu t-shirt dress. That neckline measures, the raw edge measures just a little over 16 inches. Now when you measure and you stretch this out straight, don't stretch it, don't pull. You really want to make it all relax like this, and then you're going to go to the nearest inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 inches. And then we're going to divide by 6, which got us a number not quite to 3, but 2.68 or something like that. Round up. In this particular procedure, round up, because this band is very stretchy, and we want to make use of that stretch. So we cut this at 13 inches. I went actually a little shy of 13. And I laid this open. Put it on my ironing board. You don't have to do this on every one, but this bright yellow, it mattered. It was showing a little bit of discoloration from its first lifetime. So what I did was press it and change the orientation. So this was the inside, it's now going to be the outside. And you can see a little stain here, but it is a little brighter on this side than it is on that side. So you don't really have to do that, but this dress is so cute, I thought it was worth it. Now, when you sew this together, I want you to take a very healthy 1-inch seam. Don't skimp, or not 1 inch, a 1/2 inch. Don't skimp on that, and don't do it on your serger. I'll show you why. I'm going to go across. When you're working with this, you are going to want this to lay all the way open, nice and flat. You can't do that on the serger. So if for your group it's more convenient, or you have someone who likes to work on the regular sewing machine, this would be a great job for somebody to go ahead and sit and do this. Or in my case, I have my sewing machine set up to my right and my serger to my left. Now, how do I get this sewn onto the dress actually? So what I'm going to do is first fold it in half. One side of the folded piece is my seam. The other side I'm going to mark with a pin. I know that's half. Really, for a small dress, that's about all I need to know. And when you're applying the neckband, you'll discover over time that when you do the stretching business to get it to fit, the best place to do most of the stretching is in this part here. We don't need it to stretch in around the shoulders, but we do need it because we need this to lay down in this area. So if we allow too much fabric, this is going to want to do this on the person when they're wearing it. So instead, you're going to stretch it like this and see how that just naturally makes this lay down. So I'm going to go ahead. I can still see the crease for the center of that bodice. The beauty of getting a lot of bodices cut out at one time, they sit for a little while we're waiting for the designers to put them into kits. So I've got a natural or an easy way to find my centers. If you don't have that situation, all you need to do is match your shoulder seams up with each other, like that, and there's your center. If you're off by a 1/4 inch, it's not the end of the world. Just got to get close enough. All right, so now I'm going to go like this. I am going to line those up where this folds, that's my shoulder seam. So that would be considered your quarter mark. And here's my other shoulder seam. Okay. You'll have some of that wiggly business going on, but it'll solve itself when we get in here. All right, so I'm going to pin those to the shoulder, take care of this tail. And you know what? Rather than leaving a big mess to clean up later, just get rid of your strings now. Now I am going to check. I had the seam laying this direction. I don't want to do this because this would rub on somebody's shoulder. That wouldn't feel good. So pin it so that it stays that way as I sew by. Same thing. This is my other shoulder. I'm going to make sure I keep that seam going in the same direction as it was when I did this sleeve. You can see how it's laying that way. All right. Now my typical, you know, I like my pins over here. Sometimes that's a little difficult. This is a tiny little hole that we have no choice but to sew in. Now, all right, let me talk for a minute. Some people would actually have put this seam at the shoulder and then stitch the neckband onto the dress neckline before sewing the shoulder up. And then they would come all the way across the shoulder up that neckband. Here's why I don't do that. Who wants that right at the neckline? Under the arm, it's not going to really rub on anything, but if that were on your neck, this piece here, this bulk, and it's stiff, it's just going to rub, and personally I just don't prefer it. If you do, I'm not the police of sewing, but that's just my explaining why I don't do it that way. All right, so same procedure we used for the sleeve. We're going to stretch only this, not that, until it fits, and I'm trying to get most of that stretching to happen down here, not up here at the shoulder, so I don't mind my pin being this way here. I'm going to stretch it. Try to make sure I don't set myself up for sewing a pleat. Now I can put my pins in this way. One of the things that really loves to happen, and it will happen to you, trust me, it happens to me too. When I stretch this, this one likes to sneak down. Okay, this isn't good, and you won't see it because you're up here. You will not see that you have sewn and just missed this piece. If that happens, the only repair is to go all the way back to where your seam allowance is full. Take all of that out. You have to. It's the only way. You know, and as a good reminder, later you'll remember to double check it. And the best process to avoid that is to look for your fabric. You should be able to see your fabric on the underside of your neckband. So for that reason, you know, not matching those is beneficial. Having them be a different color. So this is pretty bulky, or a lot of stretch happening here. So I'm gonna put another pin in. This is just one of those processes or portions of the dress where I just am not a fan of having to rip out a neckband, so I'd rather just have lots of pins involved. All right, so it's the opposite of how I am on other parts of the dress where I don't pin at all, but neckbands, I pin. Same procedure. I don't know if you can see this or not. The neckband isn't lining up perfectly. It's fine because I'm coming in here a ways with my stitching, so I'm not really going to worry a whole lot about that. But I am going to worry about this purple guy. Has got to be where we can see it. Okay, so I'm going to get it up here. Once I've got it there, if I want to, I could pinch just that. Now I've got those guys lined up a little better. But same problem could happen. This one might slip down farther than you were planning, so that when you come to look at your great work, and you may have a piece of it sticking up like this while the other part's stitched down. Super annoying. I don't know anything about that personally. Just kidding. has happened enough times for me to remember to tell you about it, so I guess that tells you something. All right, now this is going to want to do this to me, right? I'm going to want to get a pleat, and I don't want to have to take it out, so I'm stretching it, pinching it, adding a pin. Everywhere when you turn it over and you look at the underside, if you see bubbles that look too big, you may want to add another pin. Almost done. I don't think you'll see in every quadrant I'm using about 3 pins. One of them I might have had 4. Okay. That's probably going to worry me when I come by because I won't be able to see the purple, so I'm going to repin that. I really want to see the purple. We have, if you actually go deep, in other words, if the purple was sticking out even this much, if it's consistent all the way around, that is not a problem. In fact, that just makes the neckline a little bit bigger. So, you know, maybe God knows there's a kid like me with a really big head and they needed a bigger hole. That's what I always think. If something unique happens with a dress, I figure God knew something about the girl who's going to wear it. So I'm just going to add one more right here. It feels like I need it. Okay, check out all those pins. But that should pretty much manage this as I stitch in this area. I'm going to go ahead and use my regular sewing machine. Of course you can use your serger, but because not everybody has a serger, let's just do it on the sewing machine. Coming over. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a basting stitch all the way around. Then I'm going to do my stretch stitch. So if you would like to come back in a minute, you can see how that turned out.